Hello everybody, it's Mr. Hines coming to you on location at the Hines household. The snow apocalypse has arrived. Um, if you happen to hear some Peppa Pig in the background, that's because my kids are watching Peppa Pig so that I can teach you some math. So, speaking of said math, we're going to find some zeros of polynomials. And you're like, oh no. Okay, we're going to use fourth degree polynomials, and I'm going to tell you to use whichever method that you find easiest. So I'm going to do some examples, and I'm going to use some synthetic division. I'm going to do some um, non-synthetic, some long division as well. Okay, and you'll notice that these are all fourth degree polynomials, which we have not quite done so far. So how in the world are we going to do them? Well, we're going to use our brains, we're going to use our calculators, and a little bit of hard work. Let me clarify that this worksheet is not due today. It's not due tomorrow. It's due on Thursday. Um, there are 8 problems. I'm going to try to work 4 of them. And then tomorrow we'll look at finding zeros. Okay, zeros is the thing that we struggle with the most, probably. So we're going to have some more examples of those, but you're not going to have to factor them. So praise the Lord, from whom all blessings flow. All right, so here comes number 1. Work through it with me, and I'll show you how it's done. That's the idea anyway. Okay, so I'm setting up some synthetic division because they gave me one of the roots. So there are 4 zeros. One of them is x equals -2. Our job is to find the other 3. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this quartic into, with this linear term, into a cubic. So I'm going to bring down the 2. And then I will multiply in a little check mark kind of pattern. -2 times 2 is -4, and then I add the column, -1. -2 times -1 is 2. Make another little check mark and multiply, and then we add the column. -2 times -5 is 10. Add the column. -2 times -2 is 4. Add the column, and we get a remainder of 0, which means it is a root. It does divide evenly. That is a 0. And what does it leave behind? 2x cubed minus x squared minus 5x minus 2. So we are not done factoring yet, but what we see here is that if we divide out an x minus 2, we are left with this. So I'm going to graph that on my calculator real quick. Alright, when you graph, I am way zoomed out. I'm going to hit zoom in 6. It will take me to, this is the quartic that we were given. You see it crosses through in 1, 2, 3, 4 places, which means we are going to have 4 real zeros. One of them is -2, and it is right there. Okay, so we already found one, which means we divided it. And after dividing, we had this cubic function. So let me look at the cubic function. And you see, no longer, we've taken out that x minus 2. We don't care about that one, but we still have the same other 3 zeros. And this is what allows us to factor a quartic like this that has some real zeros. Once you take out one of the real zeros, you will end up with a cubic function. And cubic functions have to have one real zero. So we're going to find another real zero from the graph itself. Okay, we're looking at the y1 numbers, the blue numbers over here, and we're looking for a time when they're equal to 0. And you see 2 of them. You see an x minus 1, or you see a -1, x equals -1, and x equals 2. Okay, so we actually found 2 of them just now. X equals -1 and x equals 2 are 2 more of the zeros. So what do we do with those new zeros? We do the same thing we did with the other 0. We're going to take this cubic and we're going to divide it And I'm going to start with the negative 1. Okay, that's what goes up in my corner over here. Okay. And I'm dividing this cubic function. Okay, so I've got a 2, negative 1, negative 5, negative 2. I'm going to bring down that 2 here, straight down. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Add the column. Negative 1 times negative 3 is 3. Add the column. Negative 1 times negative 2 is 2. Add the column. And again, I get a remainder of 0. Why? Because it divides evenly by negative 1. That is another factor for me. So, if x equals negative 1, then the factor is x plus 1. Ooh, that's supposed to be plus 2. Sorry if anybody was having a panic attack about that. We did have a minus 2 as well over here. It just wasn't that one. Okay, and so that leaves us with 2x squared minus 3x minus 2. You're like, oh no, now I have a quadratic, I have to factor, use the quadratic formula. Not this time, because we used the graph to find another 0, x equals 2. So we can just do synthetic division again, 2. Bring down all these coefficients. We're going to divide it again. We will have it fully factored after we divide it one more time. Bring down the 2. Multiply 2 times 2 is 4. Add that column. 2 times 1 is 2. Add that column. And we get 2x plus 1 as our final factor. 2x plus 1. If we set that equal to 0, solve for x, we will find the last 0, negative 1/2. And we just found all 4 zeros of a quartic function using synthetic division. So this quartic function can be represented as x plus 2 times x plus 1 times x minus 2 times 2x plus 1, because those are all of its zeros. Equals 0. All right, I'm going to graph those before I end this video just to show that. So if you need that, stay here. If not, you can work your way to number 2, which I'll start in a new video. All right, so there's our quartic function. Now I'm going to do x plus 2 times x plus 1 times x minus 2 times 2x plus 4. And look, it's the exact same line. Okay, and at all of those, dx plus 2, dx plus 1, dx minus 2, those are all just linear equations that have 1 0 each. And you see they pass through all of the zeros there. So that's how we use factorization to find zeros, and I will pick up in a new video with number 2, then we'll do 3 and 4. We'll get quite a few examples of this.